Hi everyone, my name's Colette. I'm a team leader and a consultant for Thermomix, and today we're going to be making some beautiful eggs and asparagus, and I'm going to do them sous vide style using the blade cover. So the recipe I'm actually following is a cookie dough recipe. It's the sous vide asparagus with poached eggs, and there's a TM6 version. There's also a TM5 version that you can look at as well. So let's get started. Now the first thing I need to do is just prep my asparagus. You probably have your favourite way of doing it, but what I like to do, rather than bend them, because I find when I bend them I do waste more than what I'd like to, I type of just cut off the ends, and these ends that I've cut off from the ones I've prepped already will go into a Ziploc bag into my freezer along with other veggie offcuts, and I will use that to make my vegetable stock paste. So no waste, and that will actually make that stock paste taste really amazing. So here's my asparagus. They're all roughly the same length, and I know that they're still a little bit woody, tender to woody, although I've cut some off. So I do like to just basically take off that last little bit of woodiness and just scrape down. So I'm going to finish that off with the rest of the asparagus, and that way I know it's going to be lovely and tender. And if you want to check, simply cut off a piece and then just pop it in your mouth and you'll taste it whether it's stringy or not. So I'm going to finish that off. Okay, so my asparagus is all beautifully prepped, and just a little tip: when you're washing it, don't wash it down on the tip, wash it away from the tip, so any little bits of grime that might be in the actual tip will be washed away. So now I've done that, I need to get my sous vide bag, and I'm simply going to pop these asparagus in. So I reckon there's probably about 200 grams here, but they're just going to go in. And you might wonder why you would bother to sous vide asparagus. Just try it, then you'll find out why you bother. It takes about 15 minutes to actually sous vide it, but it has an amazing crispness and it brings out the sweetness, which is absolutely beautiful. So the asparagus has gone in, and I'm a butter girl, so I'm going to put a lovely big slab of butter in here as well. And I also love garlic, so I'm going to crush a clove of garlic and I'm going to add that in there as well. And that's going to be absolutely beautiful. Alright, so that's all kind of prepped, except I do need a bit of seasoning. Always need to season everything nicely. So popping in a bit of sea salt and a bit of either black cracked pepper. I love white pepper, and I like a generous amount of that white pepper. So that's gone in as well. So now I've got that prepped in the bag, what I'm going to do is take that over to my vacuum sealer, and I am going to pop that in, making sure I'm not squashing those tips, and I'm just going to seal this bag up. Okay, so that's now all done, so just releasing that. So you can see I've got my beautiful asparagus with the butter and the garlic and salt and pepper, beautifully sealed. Now I need to get my Thermomix working. So I've actually got it up to the stage where I want to get to. So basically what I need to do is to insert the blade cover. So this is the beautiful blade cover, and you'll notice the back has these two tall notches. That's what goes down on top of here. So I'm just going to drop that in. Quite simply drop it in, wiggle it round, and it just sits nicely. It will just fall into place. So that's my beautiful asparagus all vacuum sealed, and I know the size is right and that it's going to fit into the Thermomix with the blade cover, so that is very important to make sure. What I now need to do is to put water into here, and I'm going to pop the bag in, and I'm going to cover my asparagus with water. So you can see the asparagus has gone into the Thermomix, and I've covered it with water. I'm now taking the bag out of the water, and I'm just going to set that to one side. And what we need to do is we need to add into the water some form of acid. It could be ascorbic acid or the juice of half a lemon. and just protect that bowl, so that's important. I'm just going to drop that whole thing in there, that won't matter at all. And then I'm just going to go next and basically follow the instructions. I'm going to pop the lid on. Remember, my asparagus is not in there just yet. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to create the temperature, or bring it up to temperature 85 degrees. Okay, so I can see the temperature has reached 85, which is where I need it to be. So I'm just going to stop Thermi, press next, and I'm going to pop in my vacuum sealed bag and make sure that it is nicely covered by the water. Please be careful because the water is obviously 85 degrees, which can be a bit hot. Now use your tongs if you need to. You do need to make sure that that bag is fully submerged. So you can see that the asparagus is totally in there, and that's going to cook lovely. So next, putting the lid and the measuring cup on. Next, again, it's going to take 15 minutes to cook the asparagus at 85 degrees, which is where we're at. So I'm going to now leave that for 15 minutes, and I'll come back to that later, and the asparagus will be cooked, and then we're going to get on with those poached eggs. Okay, so the asparagus is now finished. So let's just take that out. And I've got my little tongs here, so I'm just going to carefully take that out. That looks good. All that buttery goodness is all melted into that asparagus. So all I'm going to do now is I am going to pop these into my thermoservice while I make those beautiful sous vide eggs. And basically I've pre-warmed my thermoserver. I'm just going to open these up and just gently pop them in here so they will stay lovely and warm.
Oh, smell that.
They smell amazing. Okay, I gotta have a little bite. Sorry guys. That's why you sous vide asparagus. It is beautiful. Yum!
Oh, wow.
So now I'm just going to get my eggs ready and basically following the instructions. So I'm going to seal them in a bit of Glad wrap. So I've got a Glad wrap and I'm popping that over a cup, and I'm just going to break an egg into that Glad wrap without the shell. And then what I want to do is to just carefully bring up all those edges. You want a decent sized piece of the Glad wrap, and then I'm just going to seal that nicely and then just turn that around and then just make that nice and tight. And then all I have to do is to basically tie a little knot. That's why you want a decent size. Pop that round into there, just like that. Make sure that's sealed in nicely. So that's one little egg pouch ready to go, and I'm going to repeat that with the other two. Okay, so my 3 little eggy parcels are all done, and we're now just following along on the Thermomix. It's asked me to put the water back on again, just to bring that back up to temperature. So just flicking that round. And we are currently at the desired temperature 75, so that's great. I can then just stop that, move that along to the next position, and basically it's telling me to drop those eggs into here. So basically just dropping them in. That's one little egg, and of course the blade cover is still in there, and 3 little eggs. So you can get lots of little eggs in there, that's for sure. And the lid is going back on. Now it's set to 13 minutes. I want it just set a little bit more, so I'm going to move that to 14 minutes. And then I'm going to get that cooking, and in 14 minutes time we'll see how those poached eggs look. Alright, so the eggs have finished, so let's see how they look. So I'm just going to pop out one. Just be careful because the water is a bit hot, and I'm just going to pop that into cold water, and that's now easy for me to handle. And I'm just going to dry that off because we don't want that water on that beautiful asparagus. dry that off a bit. And all I'm going to do now is pop that on, snip off the actual bag, and then just tip that beautiful egg out. Okay, so how does that look? Absolutely beautiful. Let's see how this is inside. Yeah, that looks beautiful. So remember, I put mine on for that extra minute, which is why it's a little bit harder like this. This is just how I like them. If you like your yolk softer, just go with the program on the Thermomix. So there you go, asparagus and poached eggs. What a lovely lunch that's going to be. Thank you all for dropping in. My name's Colette Matriga. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.